All right, friends and colleagues alike, super excited for this next episode. We are absolutely back. I am Mike. Oh, that's rude of me. Hold on. Let me introduce my host, Leanne Caruso, the famous fractional CMO, and in some cases, infamous.
Wow.
Leanne, how's it go? Oh, hold on. And I am Michael Hyam. You should all know me by now. But Leanne, how's it going? You excited for this episode?
I'm so excited for this episode. I've been waiting for this one. This one's like well, they're all good to me, but I love Fran Dev versus marketing. And I think there should be more alignment. And I love when it works. And so we've got two here today that are gonna show us how they make it work. So this is my nerd alert, another nerd alert for Leanne.
Two of our favorites. Okay. Hold on. So before we get into, Leanne's nerd alert, was it because you love, and I'm going to introduce the people coming on, but was it because you love the brand so much that you decided to wear another brand on your sweatshirt? And was that what was going on here?
Well, when Lightbridge Academy sends me some swag, I'm more than happy to wear it. But I am today sporting my new Oh Dear swag. Wow. This awesome hunter green sweatshirt, which I absolutely love. Nice embroidered. So thank you, Jeremy Shelton. And
okay, yeah. So
you're just jealous you didn't get one.
I am absolutely not jealous. I find it distasteful to be jealous. But I joke, I kid. I love Jeremy. I love Oh Dear. I love Lightbridge. I'm just a loving guy. So hold on. So before we jump into it, I would love to talk about our new first inaugural LinkedIn Live. Leanne, how many times a month are we going to do this monthly? Are we going to do this every 2 months?
Calm down. Right now, we're starting with every quarter, and
once a quarter. That's it.
We'll see how it goes. We kind of have a lot going on, Michael. Just calm down. Anyway, we're going to do LinkedIn Lives every quarter, and we're going to highlight all of the experts and smart minds that are members of our Hello Mastermind groups. So we've got the CMO, franchise CMOs, we've got executive Fran Dev, and we've got some really smart suppliers. So our first one is a really hot topic right now. I don't know how you feel about LinkedIn right now, but it's making me nuts. The algorithm keeps changing. And when we had Let's Grow in Fort Worth earlier this year, Brooke Janicek did a really great presentation on personal branding and LinkedIn and kind of some tips and tricks. And I've noticed—
Hold on a minute. So you're saying it was great, but I don't recall seeing you in the room.
I was there.
Were you?
Oh, yeah. Calm down. Again, calm down. All right. So anyway, she did a really great presentation. It was really informative. And I've noticed a ton of people like using her tips and tricks that she brought to the presentation. So because LinkedIn is kind of making us all a little bit crazy right now, and franchising is really, really heavily involved in using LinkedIn as a marketing tactic, we thought we'd do our first LinkedIn Live with Brooke Janicek, the CMO of Garage Experts. And then we also have Chantel Sumis, who is the fractional CMO at Stay in Your Lane. And she's a LinkedIn influencer extraordinaire too. So between me and Brooke and Chantel, we're going to share some insider tips and some things that are going on that might help your LinkedIn presence and algorithm and building your personal brand on LinkedIn.
I love it. I'm on LinkedIn once in a while. But I unfortunately, I won't be tuning in because my LinkedIn works great and I get thousands upon thousands of impressions.
Oh, whatever.
And maybe one day when you're, an influencer like me, you won't need all this nonsense.
Whatever. You're a LinkedIn junkie.
For those of you that do need help with LinkedIn,
oh my God, you'll be in the front row.
Please tune in April the 15th at 12 o'clock when we go live. It's actually very, very exciting. And yes, once a quarter, it's more than enough with the 10 gajillion things that we have going on right now. But super excited for that. But okay, so moving on, you wouldn't know it by the cover of Leanne's sweatshirt there, but today on our podcast, we have Amanda House, franchise marketing director, and Jim DiRugeris, senior vice president of franchise sales at Lightbridge Academy. And I always butcher Jim's last name.
Yeah, I was gonna say DiRugeris. How dare
Listen, I've
you?
been doing it for like 10 years now, why change?
Oh my gosh.
I'm kidding,
Yeah.
Jim knows I love him to death. Okay. All right. Well, hey, enough banter. Let's get on to it. Our first segment of the day is what's growing on. And as you all know, this segment is where we talk a little bit about what's going on in the franchise industry, the latest news, all the stuff that Leanne doesn't put on our podcast when you email podcast@franchiseassembly.com. Moving on, this segment is brought to you by Franchise Assembly, a franchise events company bringing resources and education to franchise brands and people. Leanne, take it away. What's growing on this week?
Well, speaking of LinkedIn, so I posted this on my LinkedIn, and it got a lot of traction just because I think everybody is experiencing it. So I kind of wanted to bring it to the podcast. That consumer confidence is down, and that 100% affects how we market. So first of all, here's the numbers. The consumer confidence index dropped to 92.9 in March, which is the lowest since January 2021. The expectations index, 65.2. That's a 12-year low and well below the uh-oh line of 80. And the University of Michigan sentiment index fell to 57.0. So basically what that means is that people are nervous, and that shows up in their spending. And so this is where we as franchisors really have to kind of step in. So when confidence dips, our strategy has to step up. So here's a few things that we could do, a few levers that we could pull. Lead with value, focus your messaging on everyday impact, not just flashy discounts. I think discounts might be a mistake. Double down on loyalty. Your current customers are your MVPs, so surprise them, reward them, keep them close. Go big on digital, search, retargeting, social. It's where people are scrolling before they spend. And make it easy to say yes. Think bundles, payment plans, flexible offers. You know how to do that. Get hyperlocal. Not every market is feeling the same pinch. Customize when it counts. So basically, we've seen it before, but the best franchisors are leading with strategy and not panic. So don't panic while consumer confidence is low, but it is low and it is affecting your sales, and you're probably all very frustrated. Most of the CMOs and VPs of marketing that I'm talking to are feeling the pinch and feeling the same way. So just, make your franchisees aware that this is a thing, and then adjust your strategies accordingly, and try to pull some different tactics in.
Those are some great insights.
Why are you giggly the whole time?
I was just thinking about, and we're not going to talk politics, but I was just thinking about the tariffs that your chief and commander has put on the world, and they all came into Canada yesterday as well. And anyways, I was just, I was spacing out while you were giving those great points. I'm just kidding. That was actually wonderful. Okay. So, and what am I going to talk about? I mean, I'm going to talk about franchise development, of course. This is a great point. Franchise development teams plan increased ad spending in 2025, which is great overall for everything and everyone. So, according to Franchise Insights 2025 Franchise Lead Sources Survey, over 95% of franchise development teams currently utilizing platforms like Google Meta and Leanne's favorite LinkedIn or TikTok anticipate boosting their advertising budgets this year. Specifically, 34.5% plan to somewhat increase spending on Google, with an additional 6.3% aiming for a significant uptick. Similarly, Meta is set to see a somewhat increase from 20.6% of teams and a significant rise from 7.9%. Interestingly, while LinkedIn usage appears to be declining, I wonder if that's because of their shitty algorithm, with 54% of respondents indicating no plans to use the platform in 2025. 17.5% still intend to raise their LinkedIn ad budgets. Very interesting. Additionally, despite potential regulatory challenges, nearly 16% of teams are experimenting with TikTok advertising. I think, obviously it's great overall. But I don't know. I find the LinkedIn thing really funny. I think for us and our industry, and the types of people that we're trying to target, it makes so much sense. I know for like the end user on certain things, it just doesn't really make as much sense. But sure, if you use and, figure out all the parameters and you can do your targeting, it might, but we seem to get a lot better results through Google.
Yeah, I think for Fran Dev, I think it depends. I've got a lot of brands who are struggling with Google right now. So this one I saw on Instagram. Did you know a new study finds that friends who
Instagram,
yeah,
that was
Instagram
completely left out. I guess
this is where I'm getting my news sources now.
Yeah,
because there's not much good happening. There's a new study that friends who often playfully insult each other are 300% more honest and loyal.
Wow. Friends that I hope this is not a plug at me, Leah.
I just wanted to share this with you. Research shows that we should all absolutely relentlessly roast our friends. Contrary to popular belief, psychologists believe that friends who grill each other with frequent good-natured jokes might have stronger friendships after all. That must be why we're best friends.
Oh my goodness. Well, we definitely don't have that problem. Before moving on, Leanne, have I told you how much older that you are than me lately?
Fuck off.
That is great. I love it, Leanne, and Instagram for the win. All right. Okay. So if you want to share what's going on in your world, please send us an email to podcast@franchiseassembly.com. And per usual, Leanne, I will not share it.
Oh, God.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I kid. Oh my gosh, I'm in too much of a laughing mood today. Okay, before we go on to our franchise royals segment, this segment is sponsored by Architect. Leanne, take it away. Give us the Architect ad.
All right. Managing multiple franchise locations? Meet Maestro by Architect, your ultimate business intelligence solution. Gain a centralized view of your entire network, leverage predictive analytics, and make data-driven decisions to boost productivity and profitability. Seamlessly integrate with QuickBooks and automate tasks like royalty payments. Trusted by successful franchises, Maestro transforms operations across retail, healthcare, education, and sports. Visit architect.com and take your franchise to the next level. I'm going to let you go first.
Oh,
Next section, franchise royals.
you can let me go first.
Somebody cool or a brand that we find online that's doing something cool. Somebody cool that's doing something cool. So who is your franchise royal?
So, yes, and as a matter of fact, I did pull this from LinkedIn, and it was a cute, cool kind of story. My royal is Sarah Jameson. Sorry. How could I forget after that time in Nashville, and we had those Jameson shots. So Sarah Jameson and Fresh Slice Pizza, and it was actually a really cool story. For those of you that were at the multi-unit franchise show, Sarah went up and introduced the keynote speaker, and so it was the first time that she spoke in front of thousands of people, and congratulations, it was really, really nice. And in her whole post, she had said what a great company Fresh Slice Pizza is to work for and work with, that rather than her having to miss the whole conference because it was I can't remember if it was her daughter or son's 5th birthday, Fresh Slice Pizza opted to send her whole family and pay for them to go to the conference. And so it was just overall a really nice story of her getting up there in front of thousands of people, and Fresh Slice sending out her family, and making it all, do what we do. And that's why we're such a great, huge franchise family, because it was just phenomenal. Who's your franchise royal?
Well, my franchise royal, Michael, is you.
Me?
Yes. Congratulations on earning your CFE.
Oh.
And all of the other graduates we just saw at the CFA.
Look at that. Wow. Leanne paying me a compliment. Oh my God. I'm going to note this on what this is. Is this April Fool's? Oh shit. No. Hey,
No, congratulations. You're now part of the Cool Kids Club.
Oh, that's really nice. You know what? Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Although, when someone says
you worked really hard.
Well, thank you. You know what? I'm just going to take it for what it is. Thank you very much. Okay.
All right. Let's do it. You ready? Did we? Oh yeah, we did introduce our guests. Okay, so before we get to Jim and Amanda, let's take a moment to learn about our podcast sponsor and our official print sponsor, Subtle Strauss.
Franchisors love Subtle Strauss because we protect their brand standard across all marketing channels. Z's love our marketing platform because they can customize, print, download, and mail brand right collateral for their local market in minutes. Want to see how it works? Connect with me, Karen Wenning, on LinkedIn.
Okay, so back to, I almost don't want to go on to the next segment, Leanne. I can't believe those two wonderful franchise royals. Okay, but I kid. Our next segment, of course, is the meat and potatoes of our podcast, which is the show and tell. The show and tell segment, for those of you that don't know and might be new here, is where we bring on industry leaders, thought leaders, people who have a lot more expert intelligence than me. And boy, oh boy, do we have two thought leaders this time. Leanne, who do we have on this time?
I'm very excited. We have Amanda House, Franchise Marketing Director at Lightbridge Academy, and Jim DiRugeris, Senior Vice President of Franchise Sales at Lightbridge Academy. Before we move on, Jim, did I pronounce your last name right?
Leanne, you nailed it.
Thank you. Michael butchered it at the start of the show, so I fixed it for you, but I just wanted to make sure I was right and he was wrong.
I just say it out loud and then follow up with its common spelling.
Yeah, perfect. Well, super excited to have you both here. Both of you were at Let's Grow, and you did a panel, and we did this whole panel on Fran Dev versus marketing, sales versus marketing type thing. You had a lot of great comments on the two of you. I love both of you. Have known you guys for years, so we thought it would be cool to kind of have you both on. I don't think a lot of brands do Fran Dev and marketing well, and I think you guys are testament to what brands should be doing. So would love to learn more, about how you guys handle Fran Dev and marketing together in your brand.
She's lying, guys.
Awesome.
The truth is that I said, listen, let's get Amanda and Jim and pit them against each other and see
You did say that.
who wins this battle royal.
I love that.
Oh my gosh.
We fight quite well. So
Yeah, we do. But I
You did say
always
that.
let Amanda win.
Right,
It's just
there you
my
go.
nature.
I love it. Okay.
happy to be here.
Well, let's jump in, guys. Jim and Amanda, please tell us about yourselves a little bit, and tell us a bit about Lightbridge Academy.
Sure. Well, I started my first, right out of college, my first career was in franchising, working for a brand as a, marketing on the consumer side. And I've bounced around a little bit over the last couple of years. I worked for a franchise brand in sales development and marketing for a while before leaving and heading over to an agency for a couple of years and really refining my skills in the marketing space before joining Lightbridge Academy a little over a year and a half ago now, which is
Wow.
quite fun. So yeah, I'm happy to be here, and falling in love with franchising was, what kind of kept me in the business, but marketing and franchise development, that whole intersection, to your point, Leanne, is just, it's so much fun for me. And I really enjoy this space. So happy to be here.
Awesome.
Awesome. Happy to be here as well. I started my franchise career in the early 2000s in the automotive sector. I was responsible for helping franchisees through the real estate and construction process post-agreement signing. Had my first introduction to childcare franchise back in 2014. So at that time, I led the sales, real estate, site development, construction, and finance group, and just really fell in love with the whole concept of childcare, early childhood education, and of course the franchise model. So I couldn't see myself doing anything else in franchising but this space, and for Lightbridge Academy. It's a truly just unique and wonderful place to work, and super happy to be here and help the company grow in my little way.
That's
That's
what's
great.
so cool about us too, is that we both started in automotive. My first
Oh
franchise
yeah,
was
that's true.
automotive as well.
Yeah.
So
That's cool. So tell us a little bit about Lightbridge before we get started, just so people have a good basis of, you know, how many locations, all of that jazz.
Yeah, so Lightbridge Academy, we are 27 years old now, I believe. We have 82 locations open. What I do love about this concept as well is 19 of those are corporate locations. The rest are franchised. So we understand all of the pain points, the challenges, and all of the rewards that come with a Lightbridge Academy school. So when we have conversations with franchisees, we're not coming from a perspective of we think we know what you will go through or what you are going through, because we're experiencing the same. And I think it makes that connection and that relationship more meaningful.
mhm.
And that's always really helpful to have corporate stores to test and learn from. It's great. All right. So what does true collaboration look like between Fran, Dev, and marketing? And why do you guys think that it's hard to achieve at most brands?
Ooh, I think in my mind, one of the best ways to phrase true collaboration is looking at sales and marketing as two halves of the same heartbeat. Both have to be functioning in order to keep, you know, the brand moving, the brand alive, things of that nature, if you're in that franchise space. So true collaboration is really what I find that most brands end up doing, is that marketing is focusing on X KPIs and sales are focusing on these KPIs, and they're not aligning, or they don't have one at least that is in the same direction. So for us, I think that, you know, we're not in the space of I'm just over here generating leads and Jim's over there with his team generating deals. Like, we are focused on KPIs that cross over, so that if I do have an individual KPI that I'm trying to hit, it's only supporting the individual KPI that he's trying to hit. So we focus on, you know, cost per lead, cost per deal, conversion rates, all of those things. But really, at the end of the day, we're not just generating leads, we're generating candidates for his team. That's the entire point. And that's that crossover, is making sure that we're sharing in that ultimate KPI and then communicating about it. Just regular check-ins. I get real-time feedback. There is no hesitation to tell me when something is working or not working. And that's how I want it to be. I don't want a singular monthly check-in where we go, hey, how's it going? It's just that constant feedback loop where, you know, we have collaboration meetings when they're needed and they tell us, you know, what do they need from a marketing perspective, things like that. But really just driving that unified messaging with each other and collaborating on content, that open feedback loop, constantly communicating, not just having these, you know, quarterly check-ins. You know, we're always talking. And I try to lean into, as having done franchise sales, I'm not trying to say anything and put out an ad or put out a piece of content that my team wouldn't actually say. So I think that alignment and, you know, leaning on each other to where we're using the same language, but not more, even more than that, we're going after the same goals.
Great. Jim, would you say the same, or do you have, as the sales guy?
I just simplify. No, and yeah, we'll talk about that. I'm a terrible salesperson, but we'll get into more of that later. I strip it down to trust, and I think that's the foundation of it. I trust that everything Amanda is doing and working on and promoting is to help put me and my team in an opportunity to succeed. And Amanda trusts that when we have those candidates come in, we're going to do everything that we can within reason to put her in an opportunity to succeed as well. And I think once that trust is established, all of the things that Amanda articulated so well can happen. If there's not trust, it makes everything else so much more difficult.
Amanda, when they brought you on, did that position exist, or is this a new position within the organization?
To my understanding, it was a newer position. There was an interim fractional CMO kind of doing this job, and they were realizing the actual need of a position to fill. So I got very lucky to come on board about, like I said, about a year and a half ago now. And it's been great working within the marketing team and working with the sales team. It's just been, it fits my skill set so well. And it's such an awesome, collaborative space, and the company is great. Our culture and our values are not just written down on paper. Like they live them, and it's wonderful here. So
yeah, that's great. So with it being a newer position, are there any common disconnects that you guys have had to overcome, or challenges that,
From a sales perspective, Jim, what do you think is the biggest problem and disconnect from about marketing?
I think it's always the balance of the quality versus quantity.
Mhm.
And I think that if you look at all of the reports that come out, and there's a ton of different KPIs on inquiry to close, and is it single unit, multi-unit, but really at the root of it, you need quantity to get to quality. It's just the way it works. So I think that disconnect can be where you're getting certain lead channels that are delivering a lot of leads. And I'll do air quotes with the quality is super low. So you just need more of them to get to that qualified buyer. And Michael, that creates a little bit of a rub, because it's how many do we really need to go to before we actually get somebody we can move forward with and bring into the system.
And clarifying the need too. And I think that kind of goes back to agreeing on the truth and agreeing on that trust and being able to trust each other. If I have to say, we have this quantity play because it's more of an awareness, we're trying to get our name in front of as many people as possible. So the flood of quality is going to be a little low. But as long as that open communication, that dialogue, that trust, and that shared kind of truth is there, we can kind of mitigate some of that, I guess, battle. I know that if I'm sending a lot of leads that are not high quality, I know they're annoyed. They don't have to tell me.
But it's not really being annoyed. It's more about understanding prior to launching a particular campaign that this is the expectation.
Right.
And if you set that early, then we know we're going to need more to get to the right person. And I don't think a lot of brands do that well. I think a lot of marketing teams will load the top end of that funnel with the sales team not understanding what the true outcome is. And that's where the dialogue really comes in, and it makes both sides work more efficiently.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. So you kind of answered my next question, unless you have anything to add to it, but we were talking about KPIs, goals, and messaging. So staying aligned, right? So we talk about staying aligned, but what does that actually mean? Are we just talking about communication
I think
to get to those outcomes? Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's the mention of, like I said, agreeing on the truth and using the data, but having data that's shared and available. So we work within the same CRM. They're not pulling reports and sending them to me. I'm not pulling reports and sending to them. We have access to all of the same data. So being able to have access to that truth, like we can't hide anything in that data. What's happening in our CRM is what's happening. So having those shared KPIs, that open dialogue, that access to truth, and that open feedback, we never fall into a blame game. If anything, we're fighting for responsibility. Like, what's going wrong? We're like, oh, it's my fault. It's my fault. We're always fighting for responsibility. And I think that's a big part of it too, with that alignment, is that at the end of the day, we are a team. We are not, and I love this phrase, is that we are acting like strategic partners instead of internal vendors.
Yes.
So that's, yeah.
And then Michael, from a KPI perspective, we can agree on a KPI. So marketing will use, there's a qualified KPI that they use, which translates into an action for the sales side of it. So if you have a KPI on the marketing side that only supports the marketing results, it doesn't help what's next through the pipeline. But when you can get that KPI that that Brenda and Amanda can put up on a monthly basis, and we can see that and how that translated into something actionable for us, then it's much easier to agree on what that KPI should be, because it's not siloed into a marketing KPI versus sales KPI. It's one that helps deliver to the next portion of that funnel.
That's good. So tell us about a recent win that would kind of highlight the marketing sales relationship.
Yeah, I mean, I have one. Do you want to go first, Amanda?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the parent referral letter program that Amanda came up with is a home run. You know, we reach out to parents that are enrolled in our schools. They already know what it's like to experience Lightbridge Academy from a parent perspective, seeing their child grow and learn and be happy. Now, how do you take that enthusiasm and say you could be doing the same thing as a business owner? So Amanda came up with the program. She wrote the content. She delivered the message. And that's been a huge success for us.
That's awesome.
Very collaborative, but I appreciate that.
Now, we'll give most of the credit to Amanda, because she's the one that has to generate the interest from the parent. We just tell the story about now what it's like to be an owner of a Lightbridge Academy and how they can take the experience as a parent and translate it into, all right, I could do this as an owner as well, and give this experience to other families and children, which is the real win.
That's great. Amanda, did you have another one, or?
I don't know if I can top that one.
Yeah.
That's why I went first.
I won't give specifics, but we are working on a program right now that really involves personalization to the initial reach out. And that was really driven by a program that Jim has been using that really gives me insight and details into how to talk to a prospect. So he does a lot of the back end work to kind of connect that data for me so that I can curate, messaging campaigns to these people that, very, very specifically. And I'll say we're in the early stages of it, but I've seen the open rates and the read rates of these emails absolutely be significantly higher than some of our standard drip campaigns, if you will. So can't quite say it's a win-win yet. We're, waiting on it, but just seeing kind of the benefit of utilizing the programs and the information and the data that Jim's been using has drastically improved the way that we communicate with, prospects.
Let me add one thing to that, because I think it's really important in our relationship as well. The win isn't always awarding a license. If you focus on, we're going to try a new direction to generate leads, and the outcome of that you focus on is, did we or did we not award in a license? There's going to be a rift between marketing and sales. What's the first win? Call them micro wins if you want. What's the first win? And Amanda just touched on it. The open rate for those email campaigns are higher than traditional lead generation. That's a win. Now, how do you continue to modify and refine and get better to where you get to a point where you have inquiry to license awarded, but focus on the wins along the way, and don't just call it a loss if we go through a handful of these and we don't get the end result of a deal, but how did we win along the way, and then continuous improvement.
Listen,
So
that is great. I've been a little too giggly and having a little too much fun on this podcast. But I'm only asking you this because Leanne asked me to ask you if you guys ever butt heads and or, what's your approach when you disagree on strategy or priorities?
I mean, we butt heads all the time. We really don't like each other.
It's true.
No, I think it just stems back to that trust. I think when something is going wrong, we have no problem immediately reaching out. And that's that initial trust and saying, hey, either I don't understand or I see something that maybe you don't. So I can't say we've ever, unless I'm forgetting something, Jim, but I don't think we've ever actually butt heads since I've been here, other than in a joking manner. because we don't do the blame game. I'm never pointing fingers. He's never pointing fingers. When he's bringing a problem to me or anyone on his team brings something to me, I never feel like it's a personal attack. It's always with the intention of refinement and getting better together. It's never, I need you to do this so I can do better. It's what can we do so we get better? And it's, since I've started here, it's always been collaborative. And I think we really avoid those headbutt moments because of that. We don't just meet when something's broken. We talk fairly often, and that helps. To Jim's point, we celebrate small wins and we celebrate shared wins. And we do a lot of education. We educate each other. We teach, we collaborate. If there's a misunderstanding or a misalignment, well, let me show you, or let me explain this to you. And that's both ways. It's been in that, reciprocal relationship since I started. So.
Yeah, but I do think our relationship spoiled a little bit after the Eagles won the Super Bowl this past year. So I have felt a little bit of tension, but maybe come midsummer, we'll put that behind us. And as Amanda's a Detroit Lions fan, we'll focus on next year. But
it was our year. It's fine.
Yeah, and look, I think the theme of this, and I'll quickly just add, because the theme is how does sales and marketing work together? And one of the ways we avoid butting heads is how we communicate, especially written. I never take the approach of sending Amanda an email or putting a report as an attachment saying, taking a hard stance on it, this must change, this has to change, this was wrong. It's more about, I've been thinking, what are your thoughts? So it just creates that open dialogue where I'm not digging my heels in, because I don't know the full marketing world. I don't know if what I'm saying has to change means 17 other things also have to change, and the implication to that would be even worse. So I think how we communicate when something doesn't feel right is really important in keeping both sides aligned on that continuous improvement. I talk about it all the time. It's one of our core values. But I think that's really important to pay attention to as well, is that because you can get tone out of an email even if you don't mean it. So be careful about how you're communicating and in the style in which you want to get your message across.
Oh my gosh, it's so true.
Yeah.
If only everyone thought the way you do. And text too, right, Leanne? Text?
Yeah, I think that's really important. And I think, Jim, you have as a leader of a sales department, I think you have a little bit of a different personality than I think a lot of them typically do. Good or bad, like, it's not bad. It's just how sales people are, right, Michael? So I think that's what makes it work, is because you are so open and thoughtful in how you communicate, and working and being open to ideas and collaboration. So I think a lot of times that's why sales and marketing are always headbutting, is because I think it's two type A personalities that, like, no, I'm right. No, I'm right. No, I need this. I need this. And so working towards the greater goal, I think, is really the key.
You got to knock down.
Yeah, maybe it's because if I sold widgets for a living, my family would starve. I really am not a good salesperson by the true definition of sales. I just take a different approach to it. It's about the end goal, which is opening a really successful school. It's not about me checking my box on did I or did I not hit my goals. 3 years into it, we haven't missed yet a month, a quarter, a year. So it's working for us. But I think I appreciate you calling that out, because I don't take that position of, maybe a stereotypical sales guy that if things go wrong, the natural reaction is to defend myself and point the blame in every other direction.
Right. Because you're each being held accountable to certain goals. And so first of all, in any relationship and any capacity, consumer, friend, and whatever, the first, when you don't meet your goals, the first people you look at is marketing, and that's who you point the finger at. So that's good that that's not how this goes.
Say what?
Yeah, and if
Is
you're
that
brick and
really
mortar,
how
if
it
you're
is?
struggling, yeah, if you're a brick and mortar concept like we are, if you're struggling to get the location open, development is pointing back at sales saying you brought us the wrong candidate, and they're pointing back at marketing saying, what do you want me to do? They're the people they brought me. So that end game, which is the success of the brand, has to be top of mind.
Yeah.
Totally. But also, even just like from a sales perspective in general, I think your approach, and you know, the informational giving, it's just the wave of the future. You know, gone are the days of the old car salesman, and we all understand that, even though at the end of the day people are buying the brand Lightbridge, but they're also buying from a person. They're buying from someone they like, and if you're not going to be that way, it's not going to work for you. It's not going to work for Lightbridge. And so that approach, it just works.
They're trusting they're trusting, Michael, that the material I'm providing and the conversations we're having are in their best interest, not mine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
And it
So
all,
you guys have,
yeah, it all filters back to marketing. My job gets easier when we have happy franchisees.
Oh, it sounds like somebody just took all the credit, which is interesting.
No. I'm just saying, like,
It all comes back to marketing.
I mean, in the positive way, in the helpful way. Like, if I am filtering the right candidates, and Jim is selling the right candidates,
I'll be
development's
texting you later.
the right, development's opening the right candidates, and we end up with these happy franchisees. It's that full circle moment where it does make my job easier to find those right candidates to get back to Jim, because we have happy franchisees, and that's a wonderful thing, is knowing that our entire circle of franchise development in this space is really focused on the right people, the people that fit, instead of just the number and crunching out numbers. And that makes a big difference too.
I love it. I love this. This is amazing. This parallel that I'm seeing between you two, and I'm seeing between us two, where Leanne takes all the credit too. No, I'm kidding.
I'll support you on that, Michael. We'll stick together.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I kid. Talk to me about what's working right now in franchise development that maybe wasn't working a year ago. And I hope you're not going to say franchise trade shows. Just kidding.
Well, obviously. I think on my end, from the marketing perspective, you can't mass message anymore. It has to be hyper personalized. We are really getting honed in on who we're talking to and how we're talking to them. It's also one thing I've seen a massive shift away from the be your own boss messaging. I don't know if you guys remember that. It was like every ad you ever saw said be your own boss, be your own boss. And I feel, especially for our brand, that be your own boss doesn't really work. I mean, it's still the same end game, but that's not what people in our space are looking for. They're really looking for the join our family, do something for your community, give back, make a difference. It's those unique, our core values points that really drives our franchisees to, or potential franchisees to, join our family. So that targeted personalized messaging, targeted ad spend too. Like, you can't just throw money out there anymore and do these massive, Google Ads campaigns. You really have to lay over those, lookalike audiences, suppress the underperforming targets. That's a big thing. And just really that emphasis on culture for us, though, is really what's working at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, I'm sorry, Michael.
No, I was saying, yeah, that makes a lot of sense in today's day and age, of course, with the different messaging, the whole be your own boss thing going out the window, and bringing in culture and community. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But then it all has to work at the unit level, and the unit economics have to show that what we do as an organization will put them in an opportunity to succeed. So from my perspective, it's every year we're going to refile our franchise disclosure document, and every year we're going to update our financials that are going to go into item 19, and every year our financials have gotten better. So when you put all of that together, and then you can show the outcome from the unit economic level to a prospective franchisee, it ties everything together. So what's been better this year than it was prior year? School performance, occupancy, gross revenue, EBITDA, all of the things that make my conversations more productive because I can show what the return on that investment potentially could be.
Yeah, this is great. This reminds me of that one podcast that I was on with Ali one day, and we were talking a bit about, I mean, not you guys at all, but we were talking about what makes a trade show effective, and she was, yes, the booth and the display and the light and the this and the that, and I was thinking, the fuck are you talking about? Like, it's a guy in the booth that is selling. Like, he's what's gonna make it effective. Like, if you're not engaging and talking and but she was not wrong at all, and I wasn't wrong either. It's it's the tie-in together, which is so true.
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
So you guys just talked about some trends that are working for you, but are you using any new tools? Are you leaning into AI at all? Any technology that are you trying to get the candidates through the funnel faster or more thoughtfully?
I mean, we're using a lot of technology, obviously, to find these potential candidates. We also lean into, so I wouldn't say they're new, but just leaning into that tech stack. So, Calendly for ease of communication and, utilizing that in some of our initial outreach, giving somebody the ability to connect at their, leisure. Like, how do they want to connect? Do they want a phone call? Do they want the meeting? Giving them those options. Utilizing texting platforms for that speed to communication, utilizing better data kind of overall drives that. And then AI, we're definitely leaning into AI for use of, personalization and humanizing it, which is interesting to say because you're using AI for that. But everything that we do, if, at least from my perspective, if I'm using AI to build something, I always review it. I always give it that human element, that final touch, that little cleanup. And like I said, with content, anytime I write something that is going out to a prospect or going out in an ad form or anything like that, I always send it to Jim's team to review. I never want to put out something, for instance, like an email to a prospect. I never want to send an email that Jim wouldn't possibly write himself.
So she uses really short words, no more than 4 to 5 letters, really simplifies things. The way I communicate makes it very challenging for Amanda to write content because it has to be put in a way that a very reasonable person can understand.
I have an entire GPT that just is Jim.
Like, speak Jim.
Yes. Rewrite as Jim. Yeah. So I will give a huge shout out to our Chief Information Officer, Ben Blake. I don't know if it was last year or the year prior, but I think 10% of franchise systems, all franchise systems that have under 100 units open have a Chief Information Officer. And we're fortunate enough to have one. So what the new tools that he's brought to the system that have benefited me are really two. One is called Bridge Assist. It's an internal AI system for our franchisees to use when they have questions. Operational manual, IT, it gives you the answer. It gives you the person to contact if you need follow-up information. So that's huge. The other one is Bridgeview Analytics. Again, using our data, we have a data lake that pulls different reports. The franchisees can go into Bridgeview Analytics. They can look at occupancy trends, KPI results, their goals versus budget, actuals versus budget. And while I can't show a prospective franchisee inside of this tool because it would be a financial representation, what I can share with them is the access to data that they're going to have because they're opening a business that they're not familiar with. 85% of our franchisees, maybe 90%, they have no educational background. They're coming from all walks of corporate life. They're highly educated, successful. Some have other franchise concepts. That's a pretty big trend right now. We're seeing a lot of different brands looking to diversify, and they love the childcare space. But for our core portfolio of prospective franchisees, showing them that they're going to have access to this data to understand, to help them grow a business they've never been part of before has been just hugely beneficial.
That's awesome. Well, we're going to do something that we've never done before. We're going to do rapid fire.
I
So
thought you were going to say agree with each other.
Yeah.
if we could all agree, that would be beautiful. Amanda and I will agree.
Yeah.
We got this, Jim.
Always have your back, Michael.
All right, so we're going to do rapid fire, and they're basically around Fran Dev. So, all right, I'll say your name first, so we don't like who's going to answer.
Okay.
All right, Amanda, quick wins. What's one thing any franchisor could do this week to improve franchise development?
Knock down the silos within your business.
Yes. Jim?
I
Same question.
totally agree. Just go into it with an attitude of trust first and let someone prove you wrong. Don't take the negative approach. Be the glass half full person.
Love it. Next. Okay. Amanda, one buzzword you wish would go away from franchise sales and marketing.
Unprecedented. Please
All right.
get rid of it.
Jim?
In every walk of life, it is what it is.
Can I throw in one?
Yes, please.
Elevated.
Please.
Elevated. Can we stop using elevated? Please. Okay, go ahead. Oh, me. Amanda, what's the favorite tool or tech in your current stack that you can't live without?
I mean, it's all of the AI tools that I've been digging into, getting my hands into 1000%. They're making my job more efficient.
Jim?
Get a quality lead management system.
Yes.
Even though it's going to cost you a little bit more upfront, the dividends that it pays long-term are incredible. Don't try and manage this from spreadsheets. Like really dig in, get a good CRM.
Okay, this one, Jim, what's one piece of advice you'd give a new franchise development person just entering the industry?
Yeah, just be completely open-minded. Know that the people who are working alongside of you want you to succeed, but you have to also let them know you want them to succeed. You can't be a selfish person. If you're selfish in franchising, you're going to be looking for a new job every 2 years.
Amanda?
Network. I would say the beautiful journey that I have been on has been vastly driven by the people that I have met and the friendships that I've cultivated in this space specifically. So network.
Good. All right, the big one. Amanda, sales or marketing, who really deserves the credit when a deal closes?
Having having been on both sides, as you know, Leanne, I did sales before. I will absolutely give all of the credit to sales.
Nice. Jim? Oh, did he freeze right at this?
Leanne, you know me.
Time to freeze.
You know me.
Yes, you're going to say marketing.
I'm going to give 5% credit to sales. I'm going to give 25% credit to marketing, and I'm going to give the rest to the system. And I know it's rapid fire, but I think this is important. You could lift Amanda and I out of Lightbridge and drop us into another company if they have poor leadership and unit economics that don't support what Lee or what Amanda and I are trying to accomplish. It doesn't matter how good you are. That's where it all starts. So I'm going to give the majority of the credit to our system and our franchisees for helping us make our jobs a bit easier.
Absolutely.
There you go. That's a good way to end it. That's so nice.
No, hold on. We've got one last one.
Oh, we do?
Yes, that was a great answer, Jim. Now this one is for both of you. Who's better at karaoke?
Y'all know that answer.
Well, wait a second. That's not fair. No one has heard me sing.
Correct.
That's true. That's true.
Very true.
It's at this moment in time, it is still a mystery.
Oh,
I just have to say,
in time, Amanda is clearly the champion. But when I hear myself in the car, I think I'm pretty damn good.
yeah.
How the rest of the world would hear, probably a very different answer to that.
There is no half singing when you're alone. You are simply a movie star. You are an opera singer. You are the best of the best. When you are alone in your car, shower singing, any of the things, you are the star of the show.
Yeah.
Period.
There you go. Just to for anyone that wasn't at Let's Grow, trying to shed a little bit of light, Amanda was phenomenal. Literally, if she wasn't in marketing at Lightbridge, she should be, you know, singing on Broadway or whatever. She was that
Thank
good.
you. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Sorry,
and
just wanted to bring a little context to it.
And Michael, another great answer to that question of what should someone new do? Go to Let's Grow.
Yeah.
You know, it feeds into Amanda's networking comment. You know, go meet other people, sit in on panel discussions, and get yourself out there to national event shows. Promote your brand. It's a great source of lead generation, and that loss of face-to-face communication that's so important. You know, everything can't be done via Teams. You know, being in front of people and talking is just you really get to see body language and feel how somebody's being genuine.
Very true.
That's so nice. Thank you.
Amazing. Sorry, Leanne, I jumped the gun there. Are you gonna? I was gonna say, guys, this was phenomenal. Where can we reach you? How could someone find you? How could someone learn more about Lightbridge? Please.
Yeah, I mean, you can find me on LinkedIn. That's the best place. Amanda House. There's only, you know, I think 40 of us. No big deal, but easy to find. But Lightbridge Academy, you can learn more about us at lightbridgeacademy.com. You can learn all about how we are the solution for working families. We are educational childcare and doing wonderful things. As Jim has mentioned, the brand is absolutely incredible. If you want to learn more about the franchise itself, you can visit us at lightbridgeacademy.com/franchise.
Nice.
Perfect.
Jim's like,
All
don't
right.
find me.
Just go online, Google my last name. Super simple to spell. You'll find me. Reach out.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate having you on. And thanks
Thank
for your
you both.
insight.
Thank you both
Yeah.
so much.
It was really great.
Thanks,
Take care.
guys.
Bye.
Okay, such an amazing chat. Can I tell you? I love Jim. I mean, I love Amanda too, but just kidding. I love both of them. They are so informed and smart, and it's always nice to, you know, have intelligent people on here.
Yeah. They definitely know their stuff.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's run through this. Our last segment is Franchise Mingle. Franchise Mingle, of course, is upcoming events. And I'll let you take the first event, Leanne. What is coming up like so quick that you can't believe it?
I can't believe it. I'm so excited. April 30th to May 2nd, we have our spring retreat for Hello Mastermind, which is a group of peer advisory folks from the executive marketers, executive Fran Dev, and supplier group. And we've got a lot of fun planned in Nashville. So super excited about that. April 30th to May 2nd.
And if you haven't signed up yet, I urge you to. You got to ruin my set. You should inquire, and then Leanne will reject you.
It's not
But
true.
she'll definitely give you information on the program and everything else. But okay, so right before the Mastermind Retreat, we do have the Virginia DC Franchise Show coming up April 26th and 27th. A phenomenal franchise show, which is back to back. So in between DC, then we have the Mastermind Retreat, and then the next weekend we have Las Vegas, which is interesting enough, a Friday, Saturday franchise show, May 2nd and 3rd. And then, of course, we continue on with Houston and Orlando. For those of you that don't know and may or may not have heard, but we have launched a new franchise marketing and technology assembly. If you want more information on that, feel free to reach out. That is going to happen November 2nd through to the 3rd. It's actually back to back with our Tampa Franchise Show, which is going to happen November 1st and 2nd. And then immediately after the marketing and tech, we will have our Hello Mastermind Fall Retreat, which will happen November 4th through the 5th. Hell, that is going to be a long week. And then, of course, finally, last but not least, Let's Grow Franchise Growth Assembly in Toronto is December 3rd and 4th. There are many other events in between, but we wanted to let you know about the new Marketing and Tech Assembly, the Fall Retreat, and Let's Grow Canada is open for registration and sponsorship. All right, so that is Franchise Mingle for this week. This episode is brought to you by Subtle Strauss, Architect, Franchise Assembly, and the National Franchise Show. Guys, thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.